what is this actually, guys? So there is a lot of ado about a certain Reddit thread that we're looking at right now. A lot of people in the chat were asking what I thought about it. So we talked about it already today. We went over it a bunch of times. But I think it's good to have somewhat of an official response to it. And being someone who's more than the average player, I guess, known in the community, I think it's important to, I guess, like make it known where I stand on everything and profess my support and all that stuff. So there's an official GMS boycott post. The title is maybe a little bit pretentious, but you know, maybe you just need to be. And apparently, it's getting a lot of upvotes, and people are rallied. Some idiot on my computer actually upvoted it. Time for this to end. So, this was an official declaration of a boycott for Nexon's neglect of the GMS region, especially the reboot server. All players are requested to stop paying Nexon until changes in game quality and stability start to take place. So, yeah. The whole thing, well, let me just read the whole thing and I'll get into it. For me personally, I've never spent any money on this game. I probably have about 32,000 hours in Maple at this point. And about 18,000 hours in Old Maple, and like until just after Big Bang, and about 13,000 plus since in Reboot. But I've never spent any money. If anything, I get paid a little bit through Beam Brigade, so yay, I'm actually already doing my part, taking money away from them. But yeah, let's see what the whole list is, right? So why a new year has come, and with it a lot of disappointed players. Lots of players didn't get the DMT at 2512. From what I heard, it imploded because of the time overlap with non-reboot. Not 100% sure. I didn't select that day, and I wasn't really online during that, but there was a bunch of messages that I got on Discord with people wondering on how they were going to fix it. I think since then it has been addressed, and I think January 6th is going to replace it. Servers are still unstable. This has been, like, you know, a problem always, but is, I think, the most important problem with this game. It's very hard to get new people into the game or play with your friends, or like even let other people know that you play this game when you know that if they tried it for like 10 minutes they would run for the hills because it's so unstable, so laggy, and just in such a horrible state. Lots of content is missing from the winter update. Personally, I'd rather have things work than get them and be broken, so I assume that the stuff that we didn't get yet is not there for a good reason. Software prices are unreal. That's something I don't agree with at all. Yet another Kishi nerf, which I think is probably good for the health of the game. No effect pad in Reboot. I don't know why that post is here, because we're talking about boycotting, so why bring up a reason that you would want to spend money on them? That seems weird. No New Year's package for GMS. It was really strange. Yeah, a bunch of people mentioned it. Usually I don't participate in it, so it's not like a big thing on my radar. But a lot of people mentioned like there was no end of the year, New Year, like little shop and fireworks stuff and little place where you could go and hang out. That wasn't at all a thing this year, which is strange. That could be paired with the content missing from the winter update, maybe, because I think KMS had it. But yeah, that is a little strange. No frequent cash transfer event. It seems that KMS asked for it, they got it, and then GMS is just... We're just not getting it. Okay, interesting. KMS did mention that they were going to go to a universally traded cash up, but you know that might be years until they manage to pull that one off. So until then, cash transfers would be nice, but of course that will directly hurt them in their wallets, which might be a good thing. Part of the boycott. RNG-related rates still weren't published. Was this added recently? I feel like I read this thing and that wasn't in there. Is this added? Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe I read over it. But yeah, I think this is really important. Because even in Reboot, you know, some rates, you can kind of agree, you know, if it's not connected to real money, and, you know, it might hurt them more to give the rates than to help them. But in Reboot, in non-Reboot, sorry, you need money to get, you know, drop rate on your equips. You need to get cubes. So, you know, pretty important to know if certain things are affected by drop rate, and so to which extent. There was some news recently about KMS clarifying how drop rate worked, but I have to say, with all of the hours I have in MapleStory, I don't buy it. It doesn't look correct. They basically said that the drop rate always just depends on the person who kills the boss, like their drop rate, essentially is what it came down to. But if you guys have done Hard Hilla and carried a bunch of people before, you will always get a box on your drop rate character, and a bunch of other people, even though they hit it, and then you finish it, and your drop rate is supposed to count, a bunch of them get no box. Way more than should be reasonable. So I just don't buy that that's really how drop rate works. I think there's still something behind the scenes that's working, that's alternating that somewhat. I always assume that it was, if it's a shared item, the drop rate of the person who killed the monster counts. Even if it's an instanced item, it depends on your own drop rate. That's kind of how I always assumed it. That could be wrong too, but I guess these things just need to be spelled out and properly published, because otherwise everyone's just gonna, you know, a lot of this game is super vague and just invisible behind the scenes, and we kind of just assume like, well, I guess it works like this, and then we hear something else and oh, I guess it kind of works like that, but we're all just trying to make we're just trying to do the best we can, but we have limited information for sure. Legion Wealth and drop coupons disappear in DC while EXP coupons do not. The whole system, and this is of course a problem with the game being unstable in the first place. If you have stable servers and a game that doesn't memory leak or implode or just lag to shit and give you GM police, hack reason, whatever, because you're lagging a little bit because the servers are unstable, then the coupon thing is not even a blimp on people's radar screen, right? Because it happens so rarely that it wouldn't even be a thing. But because you're DCing so much, I don't get why you don't just take all the buffs and just make it. I say all, you know, there might be like some exceptions here and there, but you can generally make most of the things, like 99% of all the buffs and all the coupons and stuff, just completely stay when you log out, quote unquote. And don't give me sassy messages like, oh, you didn't finish the Commercy voyage. Like, yeah, I chose to log out. Yeah, I didn't crash or anything. Thank you. No 64-bit client. Again, that's one of those things. I want it to be finished before they release it. I don't want them to release it because, oh, it's been 6 months since KMS, trying to drop it. I want them to drop it when it works. But I do want them to drop it, and I hope it works soon. But no communication is the big problem, and that's what they mention here as well. So there's no communication from Nexon's side regarding those matters at all. And I do reach out through the community managers very regularly, talking about issues and back and forth. I guess I could work a little bit harder, push it a little bit more, and try to ask for more direct information and stuff. As Bean Brigade, we're also constantly trying to talk about, is there any way that we can get more information and have an even more direct line of communication, like with the team, to talk about like the issues that we see, because of course all of us talk to a lot of players, and then, you know, we can be like a buffer for all of the feedback coming through, and we can be the feedback buffer the other way around as well, right? But it's tough. There's not much room for movement there, it seems. So yeah, I guess I could press a little bit more, but I also don't want to like harass the community managers, because they're also just stuck between a rock and a hard place, you know. So it's not their fault at all. I don't even know if the Nexon NA team is not even the rock or the hard place. It probably just comes down to KMS being the hard place and we being the rock. I guess I don't know which one is which in that analogy. All those and many other bugs and issues are ruining player experience. Nexon doesn't care. Probably because most of MapleStory's income comes from KMS region, but it shouldn't be like this. We had enough bucks, apologies, compensations. Fix your damned game. Nexon, getting Nexon shouldn't have been a thing. I talked about this with my community as well. I think there will always be memes and like inside jokes about something going wrong and about how it's the dev's problem. And Nexon is definitely not the only dev that has been coming under fire in the last few years. I don't think the general favorability towards like Riot and Blizzard are very good either. That's no excuse, of course, but it seems that they are definitely not an exception there. And everything, we're all acting like throwing away. Dude, can you not capitalize every single word? It's really weird to read sentences like that. Throwing away our time and money is a normal thing and needs to be acceptable by everyone. What? Oh, it needs to be acceptable to everyone playing this game. Yeah, so I'm a huge cheapskate, so I don't really spend money on things if I don't feel like it's necessary, and also if I don't feel like it's warranted. So that's the main reason why I've never personally spent money on MapleStory. It has always been weird to me that people feel like the game is broken, laggy, it doesn't live up to its potential, and then, ooh, new shiny boxes, and then drop $1,000. That was always really weird to me as well. I've always said, ever since I came back to MapleStory, like way back in 2016, I've always said like it seems like people want change, but they're not willing to put in the work to show that they want it. And I've said numerous times that like something like a boycott, or like actually being organized and putting your money where your mouth is going to be the only way that you can get some actual change done. I guess KMS gave gave a good example earlier this year, or like late last year. I don't know when it was exact. Well, early last year, I guess technically, since it's 2022. And actually just like mass exodus, right? I guess this is the run up to that. We're basically giving them a warning, like, yo, like we're holding onto our wallets, holding onto our credit cards because we want things to change. I think I'll finish reading. Is it time for GMS community to unite and boycott Nexon until change happens? All MapleStory GMS players are requested to not charge on Nexon until things start to change. I repeat, do not fund Nexon until changes start to take place in GMS. Now is the time to act, spread the word. So, you know, basically what it comes down to is I like, you know, this is like half of these are like whatever, and half of these are definitely good reasons. I think it's important to have some kind of list of general demands, some kind of list of like things to go to the table with Nexon and be like, these are the things that need to change immediately. Some of these things I think undermine what you're trying to do. Sometimes in the process of like piling things on, the goal might be to make a stronger case, but you might be actually weakening your case. For example, like there not being a vac pad is like a weird thing to put in here because that's one of the things that would make you spend a lot of money on Nexon. But it's like, I'm not spending money on you because you're not allowing me to spend money on you, you know? Like, I feel like that detracts from the point. Or like Kishi Nerf and Star Force prices, like that just kind of shows that you're not really familiar with like the balance of the game. I think just the servers being unstable is, and how unstable they are, I guess that's the main thing, is a thing that is more than enough to like boycott this game over. I think 100%. I don't know why you would need to mention all of these other ones, honestly. I think this is already more than enough because it's a joke. Half the channels are garbage. The other half is only good, I don't know, like two-thirds of the time. And the 1/3 of the time when most people are online, they're also kind of under too much stress because everyone is in them because they're the only good ones. Yeah, it just feels like the 30 channels was just like a rubber stamp to be like, oh look, we gave you more channels, but then we actually lost the amount of good channels. That definitely needs to be reverted. There needs to be some kind of resource reallocation to make sure that the serviceability goes up because it's nasty. So what I think would be good points is, first of all, is the server instability needs to be addressed. Every single channel needs to be as stable as the most stable channel. They need to be equated. There has to be something behind the scenes, and you know, I don't know about server IT and all that stuff, but it seems that there are certain different parameters, certain different access. Something's different with these channels. Like everyone, we can feel it, right? So there's no point in like lying or not addressing that. You have to in some way kind of look into that and like fix that. There were some things being done with servers a while ago, but it doesn't seem to have worked very clearly, but somehow they still stopped. Yeah. Why there's no, or not significantly more access to resources during winter and summer events when way more people are playing, that's also weird. Why there isn't way more access to resources when people in NA specifically, in East Coast and West Coast are playing, that's weird to me. Like I'm playing, you know, mostly during EU time, so and I'm not training much, so I'm not perfectly I'm not personally affected very much, but I mean, I'm making content for people who are, so it's still gonna trickle down, right? But yeah, so I think those would honestly be the main things. I think serviceability is like number one, and I think number two is, I think if you wrap all of this up into one big bundle, it's communication on upcoming changes. So it's good to always have a working list. So on the one hand, you know, the devs don't want to be like, oh, this is everything that KMS did, and that this is everything we're going to be copy pasting, and this is when it's coming, right? They want to keep it like a little bit of a surprise. Plus, things have to work in GMS, right? They can't just blanketly cover everything. But on this, at the same time, when people already see KMS and they know we copy 99%, or maybe not that much, but like 90% of the content, and we kind of know that it's coming anyway, people are already like expecting it. So you have to kind of meet the people where they are as well and be, okay, this is, because like with VacPep, they said, okay, it's not coming yet, clearly meaning that it is somewhere in there. But then
my sub is on my birthday. Party face.
Your sub is on your birthday?
Party face. Party face.
Party face. Okay, thank you, Red Baron. Thank you for the 9 months. Where do I live? Belgium. I think, and we have so many modes of communication, right? We've got the memos, we've got the bean bulletins, we just got general posts, we've got forum posts, we've got the Discord. Like, there's so many ways of communicating with people that you have to start getting ahead of this, Nexon. Like, you have so many people who can directly communicate and so many channels, but none of them seem to be used. And you just have to get on it. The resources have to get reallocated. More communication, more ahead of time. Talk about which things we're working on, which things you're not working on. I think KMS started with the actual roadmap now, where they gave a little bit more detail about what's coming when, a little bit further ahead in the future. And you can say like new class, but you know, it can be vague. I know that kind of takes the excitement out, like, oh, we already know that it's coming. But then you can tease it, you can work your way up there, you can do like a, I don't know, like a shadowy picture like a few months ahead of time so people can start thinking about what it might be. I don't know, you can kind of drum up support for it. You can make that into a cool thing, you know, you can do events, you can do giveaways, I don't know, whatever. But there has to be more direct communication, and it has to be followed up, you know, not like, oh, one post and then nothing for 2 months. And then all the while the game is like in shambles. I think there was when was the last post about the servers not being great? It doesn't feel like anything's being done, you know? And you don't have to, you know, bore us with the technical mumbo jumbo, but I've been playing this game for a long time, and this game has always had amazing potential. And yes, it has had a community that is trying to bleed it dry. And take as much from it without giving anything back, sure. But it's also had, I think, a dev team that, well, I don't know what the structure of the dev team is, but I feel like from KMS, there was never given enough resources or enough support, at least to Nexon America, to really make it live up to its potential. Just like, let's dump all the resources that we give to the other regions, throw everything at GMS because, you know, they're the Westerners that want more. Let's just give them everything, and then they'll be happy. But what came, I think, with giving us everything is a incredibly unstable game, because we had to harbor all of the content from all of the different regions. And if you have everything, but you can't enjoy it because the game just doesn't play properly. And for me, it's extra bad, of course, because I'm playing on NA from Europe, but I'm trying to not let that be part of the equation here, because at least that part isn't an issue that you guys are having if you're playing from NA. Even with all of that, like there's still a very strong base for a community within Nexon. There's still a lot of people who know and who believe in that that promise and the potential that this game has, and it's just never quite lived up to it. And the thing that it has lived up to, we've never been fully able to appreciate that because of instability, because of, you know, waves of hackers, and then things all of the responses against the hackers end up, getting rid of most of the hackers, but then getting rid of some legit people, which usually gets taken care of. But then the problem is there's always lasting scars in the game, like not being able to go in your storage because you just went on it 15 minutes ago on another character before you relogged. It's like I get why it's probably in the game, but there has to be a better way to fix it rather than to just have such a scar in the game that hurts everyone later, even the people who didn't do anything wrong, right? So you have to make a change. This is kind of a crossroad because there are a bunch of games coming out. There is the potential for a lot of people to really be like, F this. There's definitely still a group of people that isn't going to do anything with this, and there's definitely still going to be playing. But I think this might finally be, and the bubble seems to be bursting. Something that I've been saying for years, but it seems that people are finally following through with it now. We'll have to wait and see, but this is a lot of upvotes for a post, and a lot of people within my community as well were talking about it. So this, hopefully this makes an imprint. But I think it's good to start immediately with addressing the main points, which is direct communication, overview of coming content and that kind of stuff, and what the current process is with these things, as much as you can, and just fixing serviceability, because we are going to bleed out. Not only are new players not coming in at a good rate because the servers are unstable, people play for 1 day, for 2 days, they crash a bunch of times, they move on, they go to a different game. It's just not working. And the people who are staying get closer and closer to their fuse just running out and the bomb exploding, because these people have you're testing their patience for so long and eventually just gonna run out. And it seems like one of those things that's gonna help a lot of people see that their patience has actually run out like a year ago, but somehow they've just still been playing, holding on to that promise of that potential that just never came, and hoping that the next update is going to be the one, and it's just always falling short. And it's not like, I don't think it's any one individual at Nexon's Nexon America or Nexon, any individual's problem or fault, but there's just some resource misallocation going on. There has to be just more money towards making the servers work, because if the servers don't work, players unhappy and your game just falls apart. And hopefully, hopefully people join this. Hopefully people are serious about it, but also hopefully people are willing to actively work with the people who want to make it work, because I still want to believe that all of the people who work at Nexon America are all trying to make the best product that they can with, limited resources that they have available for this thing. So I hope that we can be working together, but there's definitely has to be like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps forward being set by Nexon to show that they are willing to come to the table and willing to make these changes, because it's really hard for me as well as a content creator to be like, when people come back and are like, oh, I'm coming back to MapleStory, my first response is like, oh no, what happened? What made you want to do this? This is like, why would you ever come back? And that's not even like fully joking. That's like partially joking, but not fully. That should never be my response. You could tell me like, well, maybe you should make content for a different game. Maybe I should, but I am also still holding on to that potential that I've seen for many, many years. And then I'm hoping that someday comes. I personally am very much a creature of habit. I'm loyal to a fault. I have very low standards. Hence, here I am, But that doesn't make it right for me to get squeezed out to the extent that I am. And for the people who have given their undying loyalty for many, many, many years and thousands of hours each, doesn't make it right for those people to be used in such a way. So hopefully, people's money will talk. Hopefully, people will follow through, and we'll see that we are serious, and either GMS shuts down or we see some improvement. All right, so join the cause. Make sure to also, I don't know if it's already been done. I haven't checked because who the hell goes to the MapleStory official forums? Not me. But make sure that there are some posts there as well. Make a lot of posts, because some people mentioned in my chat, I don't know to what extent it's true, but it might be, that KMS tends to look at the official forums, and they don't look at Reddit or anything like that whatsoever. So it might be a good idea to make sure that it's on as many different places as possible. You know, that it's on like Discord, Reddit, official forum, that it's in a lot of places, and on YouTube now as well with this video. So yeah, let's all follow through. Let's all band together. Even if, you know, some of these things are maybe a little bit yikes. But the serviceability is like, it is the main thing. It's gone downhill. It's horrible. Around PST time zones, even there's, again, only half the channels are playable. Those are barely playable. They're completely overloaded with players who can't get any kind of gameplay in the other one. People crashing during totems. That's the other thing, but that's for further down the list. But like totems needs to be addressed as well. Those things, those 2-hour blocks are just, it's not good. It's not good. You're just railroading players. You need to give more options, be more flexible there. You can, but I mean, I said that on the first day that totems came out, but you know, what am I gonna do? I mean, I'm trying my best here, okay? But yeah, good luck to us. Hold strong, and if it comes to it, tell me what game you're gonna play when MapleStory either doesn't follow through or shuts down. Tell me what game you're looking forward to playing. Don't say New World, okay? All right. Best of luck to you and to all of us. And let me know what you think. All right. Peace.